My name is Ray Salazar, and this is Morning Reel, a 3 minute or 4 minute or so podcast about reviewing films, whether they're good, bad, weird, slow, long, whatever. I'm going to review them. Happy Valentine's Day. Today, for this selection, will be I wouldn't say one of my favorite films of all time. I think it's becoming up there as far as that. I like exploring dynamics between two people and how they explore each other's minds, souls, and hearts, all that stuff. So for this film today is called Before Sunset, written by Richard Linklater, Ethan Hawke, and Julie Delpy. Story by Richard Linklater and Kim Krizan. Directed by Richard Linklater. It is part of a trilogy called the Before Trilogy. The first film being Before Sunrise, this one being Before Sunset, and the last one of the selection, Before Midnight. What's crazy about this trilogy is that they use the same two main actors, which is Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. And they span it from, I guess, every 10 years or so. So you see them literally age. I think that's a great concept. It's been done before. I believe Francois Truffaut, which is one of my favorite directors of all time, had done that with his Antoine Deaunel series, one being The 400 Blows. I'm going to try to make this short, being that is one of my most cherished films, I guess. I tend to go long, right? I consider this as I would call the perfect film. Not saying like it's the greatest movie of all time. In fact, a lot of critics and fans they feel like the Before trilogy is one of the best trilogies of all time, next to even the Godfather trilogy. How about that? Richard Linklater is a student of the game. He has directed films such as Dazed and Confused, Slacker, Boyhood. The whole trilogy is about two people. They meet up in a different country. They spend one night together and they depart. And they wonder if they're going to see each other again. In a sense, they kind of plan it. Does it work out? In this film, we discover that these two people meet up again in Paris. Ethan Hawke is Jesse, who just wrote a book about, it's sort of I wouldn't say it's an autobiography, but it's definitely a dramatization of his one night with Julie Delpy's character, which is named Celine. So he does this book tour in Europe. The day where the film starts is like the last day of the tour. And what do you know? Celine shows up to that Q&A of the book. He notices her and they just start talking. And they have the whole afternoon to subconsciously figure out if they're good for each other, or if it's even worth not just be friends but be a lot more than that. And throughout the film, they talk about their lives, the things that they went through as far as like politics and like in their careers, all that stuff. Love, especially love, because at this time, Jesse already has a kid. He's married. Celine, she's in a relationship herself, but the relationship seems kind of dim because I guess her boyfriend's a photographer, but his line of work is like basically like going out to like wars or like going out to places where there's bad things going on in the world. So they're they're separated from each other for a long time, like months in time. So to her, she says that, it's cool. I like being alone. I like having my alone time and all that stuff. But I mean, realistically, if you're in a relationship, it's healthy to have some alone time for yourself, but it's also unhealthy to like be in a relationship and not like be in love, I guess. I don't know. So that's what it's all about. The reason why I say it's the perfect film, this film is an hour and 20 minutes. That's pretty short for any kind of film nowadays. Usually romantic comedies or comedies themselves are about 90 minutes, 95, even 100. Depends. Dramas are like 2 hours or so. Anyways, the reason why I say it's a perfect film is because Richard Linklater was a genius using all the elements of filmmaking, synchronized very well. Screen direction, writing, setting, time and space, the pacing, and cinematography. There's no music in this film whatsoever. If you ever see the film, which I would recommend that you see it, you'll know what I mean as far as how the director uses all the elements in filmmaking and he just puts them all together very, very well. The crazy thing about this film is basically time, because this is all happening in one afternoon, you know? Like the whole premise is that as soon as he finishes his Q&A, he has like 2 or 3 hours to like do whatever the hell he needs to do and get on this fucking plane to go back home, basically home, where his wife's at, where his kids at. But this guy is so struck by Celine because he hasn't seen her in like 10 years or whatever, you know? And I mean, they hadn't seen each other for that long. So they've always wondered, you know, like, it's like a what if type of thing, you know, like, what if I had stayed? Or like, what if I did show up? You know, what would have happened, you know? Some films would like go 6 months ahead in time and all that crap. But no, this film does it within an hour and 20 minutes. But obviously, you don't notice it, but time does go by, you know, like, I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 hours go by fast in this film, but it makes it seem like it's an hour and 20. But you get what I'm saying. So we discover what it takes, you know, to not lure somebody, but like figure somebody out, you know, and that's hard to do. It's a pretty heavy film. It's very adult because they do talk about adult situations. Some of it's funny. The juicy part of this film is basically the conversation that they've kind of been avoiding, but it's unavoidable. What's up with us? You know, is there an us? Is there something going on? Can something go on? And you can just tell that there could be something, and realistically, they're willing to risk it all. And before you judge these characters, especially Ethan Hawke's character, because he's married, he has a kid, before you judge him, watch this film. This film has 4 out of 4 tokes. My favorite shot of this film is when Jesse takes Celine home via a driver, and she shows him her house. But the shot that I love in particular is when they're walking up the steps, and it's so quiet. It's such a quiet scene. The only thing you can hear is basically their footsteps going at this like circular staircase while Celine's holding a cat, which I love because I love cats. But it's just so like, it's suspenseful in a sense, you know. It keeps you on your toes. It asks you what the fuck's gonna happen when they get into the house, or are they gonna get in the house? We don't know, but you are drawn to it. You are lured to it. You're invested in these two characters. You want to know if this could ever happen, because I'm sure there are some people out in the world who've had experiences like these where they meet somebody one night and then that's it, you know, and they're gone. Some people might just move on. Some people don't, you know. So a film like this gives you somewhat of hope and like, and love, or like communicating with people. And that's what the film's all about. It's just pure communication and like unadulterated truthness. I'm Ray Salazar. Follow me at Morning Shot Films on IG, YouTube. Rate and review this. I am on Apple Podcasts as Morning Reel. I take requests. My request email is officialmorningreel@gmail.com. I've been taking in requests recently, and I'm going to do them. So, yeah, on to the next one.